all for coming. Wow, this is amazing, and you all look so pretty. Good evening. As many of you may know, this has been quite a year for me. I got to give some speeches and do some interviews, and it gave me the chance to reflect on my journey as an actor and my life in film. But in preparing for tonight, I've reflected even further back to my arrival on the shores of California as a refugee from Vietnam when I was 8 years old. I was what they call a boat person. And little did I know, just a few years later, I became an actor. And even more recently, and still unbelievable to me, I became an Academy Award-winning actor. Despite the tremendous blessings I've received in recent months, the day I arrived in America was one of the happiest days of my life, because that was the day I reunited with my family and America became my home. So it is with profound humility and gratitude that I stand before you tonight. I do not take this moment lightly, because I know this building is a monument to a country that opened its arms to me once upon a time. And for that reason, we are thrilled to celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month by bringing you our show, American Born Chinese. Now, this is a show about that very crossroads between storybook fantasy and real-world struggle. It tells the tale of an immigrant family with an American son finding their way, forging their own path, and dealing with all the highs and lows of that difficult journey. It's about the blending of cultures, influences, and values into a new American identity. And most of all, it's about family. You know, I thought it would take me a very, very long time before I get emotional again. But as you all know, I've done a lot of crying in the last year. But as I was entering the White House through the east entrance, and as I was walking up those steps with that orchestra playing this beautiful music, I couldn't help but tear it up, because I was telling myself, I'm going to the White House. I'm going to the White House. I've never been here before. It's, now, this is the way to go to the White House. This is the way. And I never thought I would get a chance to say this. But now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the President of the United States!
My name is Joe Biden. I've never won an Academy Award. Can't act worth a damn. can't sing, can't dance, can't do much of anything. But it's good to be with all of you. Good evening, everyone. This is the largest Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month celebration ever held in the White House. Ever. And Keith, thanks for that introduction and for the hope, the pride, and the joy that you embody. And I mean that sincerely. It's been an incredible few months since the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once swept the award season. 7 Oscars. Oh, 7 Oscars. For a movie about the extraordinary powers of ordinary immigrant family. Best Picture, Best Actress, and for Key, the only second artist of Asian descent to win Best Supporting Actor. You know his incredible story. Born in Vietnam, separated from his family as a refugee in Hong Kong, before reuniting with them in America when he was 8 years old. 4 years later, Steven Spielberg, a friend and acquaintance, cast him as the side of Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones. I hate to say this, that's how I remember you, most of all. That look in your face from that scene. Remember that? How can you forget that? It was a decision that would give him a sense of purpose and change his life for him and his entire family. Only to see the decades pass without new opportunities. But his wife, Echo, she in fact kept the faith, telling me, your time will come. Well, Key was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I had a joke for you, pal. How you were famous in the 1980s, then people counted you out. only to finally make it big, and 3 years later, hell, I know something about that too. But your time did come, as it has for the entire community. A diverse community, cultures that are reflected in every part of American life, including in government. By the way, a government led by Kamala Harris, an Indian American. Represented by a record number of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, all across my cabinet, my White House, the entire administration. And I want the community, and the community is represented here by a great friend and a great Congresswoman, Judy Chu. Where are you, Judy? Stand up. Chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. And supporters in Congress like Al Green, who's always there for everybody all the time. Al. We see the community in all of you here tonight, leaders of business, technology, philanthropy, media, and so much more. And most of all, we see the possibilities of the community and all the young people here. All of you. What an attractive group of kids. You represent the most gifted, talented, and tolerant generation in American history. You really do, your generation. The best educated, most tolerant, least prejudiced group in all of American history. But just remember, when one of you becomes President of the United States and your staff tells you Joe Biden's out in the waiting room to see you, promise me you will not say, Joe who? All right, you promise me, remember? All right. Across America, we see the community give life to our cities, our small towns, our rural communities, in every part of America. You know, together you embody the truth that our diversity is our strength as a nation. That's not hyperbole, that's a fact. That's why we rebuild our economy and invest in America. We're including this time all Americans, all Americans. That includes launching the first ever national strategy to advance equity, justice, and opportunity, and to channel the full potential of the community, doing everything from combating anti-Asian hate to making government services accessible in more languages. That's what it's about. It's about bringing people in. This is your house, not mine. This is yours. And help more people see themselves in the story of America. We signed historic legislation, bringing us one step closer to a National Museum of Asian Pacific American History and Culture. But folks, We also know that for generations of progress, racism, harassment, and hate crimes persist. As I said many times, hate can have no safe harbor in America. Silence is complicity, and we will not remain silent. That's why, with the help of many of you, I signed into law the bipartisan COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, and I hosted the first ever White House Summit against hate-fueled violence. Folks, together, we're taking on another scourge of the nation, gun violence. After the tragedies in California, Kamala and I joined Judy Chu in Monterey Park to honor the victims, give the community, and grieve with them, to turn pain into purpose. And Jill and I invited Brandon Say as our guest to the State of the Union because we wanted the country to see all of you, your courage, your resilience, your faith, your pride in America. I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years. In Monterey Park, I announced an executive action to expand background checks, strengthen red flag laws, and so much more, so we can save more lives more quickly. I wrote, along with Dianne Feinstein in California, the banning assault weapons. And for 10 years, violent mass murders went down precipitously. But now it's back. We just have to finish the job and ban them again in high-capacity magazines. And let's finally hold the gun industry liable for the harm their products produce. Look, let me close with this. Earlier this year, I honored a group of trailblazing artists with National Medals of Arts and Humanities. The group included groundbreaking Asian Americans like Vera Wang and Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it right, Shanga Kawawa. I think I pronounced it correctly. She can call me Joe Biden. And Amy Tan, whose book, The Joy Luck Club, became the first Hollywood film with all Asian American cast until Crazy Rich Asians 25 years later. They'd be joined by movies and TV shows from another honoree of that day, Mindy Kaling, whose opened the door wider for more storytellers to follow. And across the board, we see groundbreaking works that capture courage, character, and the imagination and spirit of this remarkable community, diverse, remarkable community. And building on this legacy is a show you'll see tonight, American-Born Chinese, based on a graphic novel. I just met the author. Gene, thanks for being here, for coming-of-age story, growing up in a different world, finding ways to bring it together. When I think about this story, I think about the courage it took for so many of you and your ancestors to start the journey to America and continue the traditions of Native Hawaiians who've been engaged in that process for centuries, to adopt old traditions anew and tell the ongoing story of America, stories of possibilities. I was with Xi Jinping in the Tibetan Plateau, and he turned to me and he said, "Can you define America for me?" And I said, "Yes, I can." It's God's truth. I said one word: possibilities. Possibilities. We're the only nation in the history of the world organized not based on geography, ethnicity, or anything else. We're based on an idea, not a joke. The only nation in the history of the world based on an idea that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, etc. We've never fully lived up to it. We've never walked away from it. We have never, ever walked away from it. And as president, it's an honor to live here in the White House, but it's first and foremost the people's house, your house. I just got back from Ireland, trying to keep the Irish Accords together, but in the process, I was going back and seeing my relatives who I hadn't met before. They go back all the way to 1157 in Eastern Ireland, and so the Louth province. And the interesting thing about it is, all the immigrants that came here came for a reason. They were trying to escape something in a large part. We Irish were escaping because we were Catholics and we were being persecuted. Well, guess what? I'm standing here as president. And it's important to remind our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to show the country all of our stories. We have, as we have here, with the biggest Diwali, Lunar New Year, and Eid celebrations on a scale that the White House has never seen before. I'm determined to remind everyone, and we're doing it again tonight, that our strength lies in our diversity. It really, truly does. Let me say one more thing. Nights like these are a reminder of the power of stories and the importance of treating storytellers with dignity, respect, and the value they deserve. I sincerely hope the writer's strike in Hollywood gets resolved and the writers are given a fair deal they deserve as soon as possible. This is an iconic, meaningful American industry, and we need the writers and all the workers and everyone involved to tell the stories of our nation and the stories of all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, they kid me because I'm always quoting Irish poets. I only do it for one reason. They're the best poets in the world. But all kidding aside, every generation has an opportunity to change history. And every 4 or 5 generations, we get to a point where we reach an inflection point where major changes that are going to occur for the next 4 or 5 decades are set in place within a 4 or 5, 6 year period. And we're at one of those inflection points right now. We truly are. The world is changing. And we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to set in motion things that can't be turned back. And one of those things is keeping the commitment that we made here at the White House, which is that this country, every major aspect of this country is going to look like America, look like all of America. Ladies and gentlemen, from the White House, it is my honor to host American-born Chinese. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
A Russian man claiming to hold top-level secrets about Russian advanced bombers has just turned up at the U.S. southern border, seeking asylum. The man claims to have been an engineer at a production facility over in the city of Kazan, and he says that he possesses top-secret information about the White Swan Tu-160, which is the most advanced bomber in the Russian arsenal. U.S. border officials, they interviewed the man, and they determined that his story was in fact credible and eventually passed him off to the FBI, who are still in the process of interrogating him right now. However, analysts have pointed out that the fact that the story was even leaked to the public is an indication that perhaps the American government is encouraging other Russians who also hold top-level secrets to also escape to America. And if you thought that was interesting, well then you should click on that button below this video and check out Epoch TV, one of the best no-censorship video platforms on the internet.